Hello, friends and neighbors, and welcome to episode 40 of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Follow us on your favorite podcast provider. Leave a like, leave a comment. It really helps us get the word out, and we appreciate the support so much. Benny, where can they find us on social media, brother?
You can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Woo! Let's get into it. We're going to look at the CFL Power Rankings after week 3 of Canadian football action. The Trotz Watch is officially over. So we're going to look at the remaining coaching candidates that are available who we'd like to see get a shot at the Winnipeg head coaching job. But let's start off in the NHL and the newly crowned Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche, bro. They did it.
They did. And they showed they were the better team, man. What a team that Sakic built over time. I know it took a little while. I know there was rumblings of him possibly getting fired years ago, but he stuck to the course and made some great picks. And they're on top of the NHL, man, and they fully deserve it.
Yeah, 5 years ago, the Avalanche had the worst record in the NHL with only 22 wins.
Yeah.
And now they're Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah, they did it well. And I mean, McKinnon and Landeskog have both been there for quite a while, but now they added Rantanen and then Makar.
And then come on.
And he was the 4th overall pick, Makar.
Like, this guy is ridicululous. I'm almost ready to call him.
What did he just win? He won the Norris Trophy.
Yeah.
He won the Conn Smythe Trophy.
He's
Calder last year, or whatever it was.
So the other defenseman to win the Norris and the Conn Smythe in the same year, or Lindstrom. And now Makar. Like, those names,
pretty good
bro,
company.
That's the company that he's in, and he's definitely top 3 player in the league right now.
Yeah, he was he was something else. I found last night he was sometimes trying to do a little bit too much, and then coughed up the puck a couple times. But
yeah,
when he's going and he is playing well, like, man, just watching him skate up the ice. Controlling that blue line, tight roping the blue line sometimes, to get the puck wherever. And it just, when you got a guy like that in the back end, it just helps those guys up front, especially when you got those 3 up front, Landeskog, Rantanen, and McKinnon, and even Kadri, man. So,
and in that
Tampa came out strong last night to start, and it looked very good for them early. Kemper let in a bit of a weak one on that first one. It was a bit of a weird one, but after that, Colorado started getting better. Kemper shut the door. 4 shots by Tampa only in the 3rd period. Your season's on the line. Stanley Cup's on the line. And Colorado shut them down.
Team defense, man. Defense and speed in the NHL kills. As we know, like the best Jets teams we've seen here, the teams we've seen in Colorado, they're big, fast, and they play great team defense on the ice. They take up space. And Colorado is amazing at doing that. Like, props to Tampa Bay for playing those last few games like they have. They started off kind of like, oh, they're going to get swept maybe, and then they made it competitive, but they just couldn't keep up with Colorado, bro.
No, and then 2 for 18 on the power play. That's not going to help you get through. Losing Braden Point for most of the playoffs and into the Stanley Cup final here, actually, it was a big loss for them, especially in this round, because they weren't getting enough support in the scoring department besides the big guys. So that was a big loss. And some plays last night by Tampa were pretty uncharacteristic. Their guys were losing their cool. McDonough's probably lucky he didn't get a 5 for that check from behind boarding call. And then Stamkos shoots the puck at the referee.
Oh, they're getting frustrated for sure.
They were getting frustrated,
and understandably so. Understandably so. And you mentioned Nazem Kadri, like. Props to that guy for coming back from a broken thumb. Like, he couldn't tie his own skates, he said. Like, I love that post game where he told all the haters to go kiss his ass. Props to him for sure. And that's not just regular hockey haters, man. That's like the Maple Leaf Nation who had hate for him, and that's for those racists who said a bunch of bullshit earlier on. So, props to him. I love it. I love seeing that guy win.
I mean, he did make a couple of his suspensions probably were not worth him doing what he did. Toronto would have loved to probably kept him in those playoff series more than losing him. So I don't condone any of the racist stuff or any of that stuff. But, Kadri, he came out, he played hard. Like you say, was his dad in the dressing room tying his skates for him, just like back in the day?
Who knows? But someone was, because he couldn't do it with his own hand. Imagine that. Not being able to tie your skates and still playing in the NHL playoffs in the finals and being a factor and winning and get the game-winning goal. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. Did you see Niskanen's foot?
Well, what's wrong with his foot?
Well, he was limping that before yesterday's game, and he was wearing a beach sandal or whatever. So I guess he couldn't even put it on a shoe or something. It was just all bruised and taped up. So put it on the line, man.
For years, I've always said hockey players are the toughest athletes in professional sports. Hands down. You're moving at that speed, hitting each other at that speed. You're going on these shifts back and forth down the ice for how many, like 20, 30 seconds. Sometimes you go for a minute and a half.
These blocking pucks, taking hits.
Oh my!
And not every part on your body has protection from equipment. There's openings. I mean, I think it was Cogliano took one just above the knee or whatever yesterday.
Oh gosh! Look at Stasny. Look at Stasny's mouth. Yeah, and like they put it on the line. So let's think a little bit towards next year. We still got the draft. We still got free agency coming up, which will probably be a factor here. But what does Colorado? Let's start with them. What do they have to do to repeat as Stanley Cup champions, bro?
Well, I was looking at their roster, and they have a lot of spots to fill. They have a lot of free agents. They got their main guys signed, at least, besides Kadri. So he'll be the biggest free agent there. They got about $25 million, I think, in cap space for next season. So they're going to have to start there. They got 9 spots to fill.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to have enough to keep Kadri plus all the other spots, because Kadri's probably looking at a bit of a bump in pay after the way he played this season.
They have to keep Kadri.
They have to, but I don't know if they're going to be able to. Kadri, he ended up with pretty high in point totals during the regular season as well. And he looked pretty clutch in the playoffs, so that might be tough. But yeah,
he'll get a contract, what the Scheifele has, maybe
$6 million. I don't know. Kadri, this is probably Kadri's last big contract.
Yeah,
he's
so
31 years
at
old.
Least that then.
So he might look for a little bit more, and there's probably a team out there that'll give him more than what probably Colorado can.
Jeez, but you're right. There's a lot of names that they need to sign, like 20-minute players.
Yeah. Well, Niskanen was one. Burakovsky, if they want to keep him. Lekkinen was a good guy. Yeah, Manson, who had a solid playoff.
Absolutely.
So
Kemper is a free agent. He had great playoffs too.
Yeah. So how much do you pay him? He's 32 years old. You got to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
Unless there's an option to upgrade Kemper. I mean, he was fine. He played some good games, but still a little shaky here and there. But I don't know if there's any other options really out there in the goaltending free agency anyways, or if you're going to overpay, which they probably can't.
Yeah.
Anyways, so probably Kemper is the guy. But yeah, Josh Manson's big.
Yeah,
we'll have to see, man.
We talked to David Benefield. Go check that interview out on Ray and Benny Sports on YouTube. We talked to David Benefield. I don't know if who was he talking to, bro? Was it Yurke Lume that he was training with in the offseason? And he was like, you keep 4 players and you change the rest of the pieces and you're usually fine. I don't think this is the case with Colorado. Like, if they do end up losing Kadri, Manson, Niskanen, and even guys like Murray and Jack Johnson, I think if you lose pieces like that, that's not a good thing.
No, I can't see them. Well, I mean, Josh Manson, it's funny because he's over 30 as well, or close to 30 or something like that. I think so. You probably want to keep him, and you could probably get him for a decent contract. You won't be overpaying or anything like that. And if these guys like this situation and kind of see, hey, we got a winning team and we can keep this going a bit more, they might take a little bit less.
Yeah.
But and they have the cap space, enough of it to build around their stars, but if you lose Kadri, who's your second line center, who's going to come in there and fill in for him right now? Probably you don't have that guy to fill in, so you're going to have to find somebody.
You talk about discounts. I think Kadri might be one of those guys. He's always been like a team player, and he seems like someone who has loyalty. So maybe he's one of those guys that take $1 million, $500,000 less to stay with that core and win another one, chase another one.
He's in a good situation. He's not getting the crap he always got in Toronto for anything that went wrong.
Absolutely. He knows what it's like to be in a big market like that.
Yeah. So you're in a winning situation. That changes things. As we see with the Bombers, right? A lot of guys came back because they were in a winning situation. Can Colorado keep it going?
Yeah. But and if you can be a star in Denver, you make money in other ways.
Yeah.
You make money in other ways. And what does Tampa Bay have to do to get the cup back, bro?
They're funny because they pretty much have their team still intact for next year.
They get old, though.
Andre Palat's the only big free agent there in that forward group, but they are up against the cap. Like there's no space
4 million.
at all.
Yeah. $4 million.
Yeah.
Like, who are you going to sign for $4 million once you sign Palat? Because he's going to be probably $4 million plus.
Yeah, he could be more. So you're probably gonna have to clear some space out of there to even sign the guy. But
yeah, there's talk of that, definitely.
So maybe they don't have a lot to do because they got their team there. If you get Braden Point back, who missed most of the playoffs, that's getting another star player back. So they're a little bit older. They've also played a lot of games over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that's a factor at all. And then they had a tough playoff stretch. They played 3 teams with over 50 wins here, right? Or every team they played, had over 50 wins. And
they've won 11 playoff series in a row.
Yeah.
Till now. Like, that's a heck of a run, and that's a lot of miles on your legs, bro.
Yeah. That's going to catch up to them at some point, especially now that these guys are starting to hit into the 30. Most of them are at 30 or just over. So,
do you think they'll look to remove Ryan McDonough and his 675 cap hit?
They could, but he's signed for a few more years after that, isn't he?
Yeah, but you got to move the cap. You got to move your cap hit.
Depends what assets.
It's not always it's not always just waiting to the deadline with your UFAs. Like, sometimes you just got to move those big pieces.
But it depends what you're going to have to give up. If they're going to have to give up a high-end draft pick, I don't even know what they have right now.
They have a first rounder for the first time in a couple of years.
Well, there you go. So, and they need that because they have to start replenishing their
absolutely
their prospect pool at the same time. So,
yeah. But I think they do definitely have to get younger, and they have to get faster. Like, they did come close against Colorado, but geez, they gotta, you look at a guy like what's his name, Mikheyev from Toronto, who might give him for like 175, $2 million, a guy with good speed and good hands, because I don't know if they can keep up with Colorado in the long run. Well, they can't obviously in this series, but moving on to next year, I think they do have to get faster.
Yeah, but they don't even have the room for it right now. Right now, it shows that they're actually minus $2 million with the cap,
and they have
going into the season. So
they have an injured person on their list, right? That's covering like $4 to $5 million. I can't remember who it is.
Yeah, that usually starts after the season kind of starts. So, McDonough's still got 4 more years at 6.7.
So they probably should move him.
They should, but you're gonna have to get someone to eat that contract if you can. He's got a no trade contract or no trade clause as well. So
yeah, he's a solid player. And it's not like no one in the league will touch him.
No, and part of the problem is
they probably won't get Prime back for what they would like to get for him, but they will get that cap space relief, which is probably more important at this moment.
If they can do it, that's probably the only thing they can really do. They got a couple young guys still on D, Sergachev, Chernak, that are going to need to be signed after next year. So
yeah,
he's really the only one you could probably look at probably moving.
Maybe they can get Evander Kane for cheap. No,
Kane's not going anywhere cheap.
Not Evander Kane.
No, he's not going anywhere cheap.
We'll see. Well, so I can't wait to get into the off-season mode with the NHL, which we're kind of in now, bro. The draft is coming up. Free agency. I think there'll be a lot of moving pieces this year.
What's going to happen in Winnipeg? That's the question.
We'll get back to the Winnipeg Jets in a sec. Or do you want to talk about Winnipeg Jets now?
No, we could get back to it.
All right,
either way, let's do it now if you want.
Let's talk about the Winnipeg Jets and see what well, they do need some coping mechanisms going on right now because the Trotz Watch is over. Oh, the sadness in Jets Nation over missing this coach, bro. The sadness.
Trotz says no.
Oh, and I totally understand, man. Get paid by the Islanders. Enjoy your time off. And maybe there'll be that Predators management job next year, I hear.
It'd be crazy if he takes a job in the next couple of weeks.
What can you do?
What kind of meltdown will happen in Winnipeg if he does?
Oh, just get over it, Jets Nation. We gotta move on. We gotta move on now. Like, the question. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, where do you move on to?
Well, that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
What coaching candidates are left, and who is the best fit for the Jets, bro? Like, I have 2 names on my list, but I want to see who you have on your list.
I have a list of guys. I don't know which one of them is going to be the best fit, but at the same time, if they're gonna do this and go with an inexperienced or someone who doesn't have as much experience coaching wise or something, I'd rather them go young there. And if they're gonna do it, blow this kind of core up, not totally, like keep Ehlers, Connor, that guy. See if you can get something for Wheeler, maybe even Scheifele. I don't want to say Hellebuck because without him, man, this team is nowhere close. But I can't see Hellebuck wanting to be around for a potential rebuild.
Yeah, unless he outright asks for a trade, you don't trade him.
Yeah, they got some good pieces. You got Perfetti, you got Heinola, you got this Chad Lucish as well coming up from the American teams.
Yeah.
And then you got Connor, you got Ehlers, guys to build around.
Yeah. So what coaches are we looking at here? What coaches do you want to see?
Yeah, I don't know, man. The guys that I can see on this list that have been rumored, you got Jim Montgomery, Scott Arniel, Pascal Vincent, Rick Tocchet, Kirk Muller, now Andrew Brunette.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Jim Montgomery, he wins. He's done well. I don't like his situation, how that ended with Dallas.
No, that's too iffy.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's beyond that. But again, it's still iffy. So it kind of scares me in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Brunette is kind of intriguing, but he had a very good team in Florida.
President's Trophy winning.
Yeah, and he struggled in the playoffs a bit. They struggled against even Washington.
Tampa Bay.
They got blown by Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you look at the Tampa Bay guy. What's his first name? Lalonde. Derek? No. I can't remember his first name.
The golden boy, Donnie Lalonde.
Yeah, Donnie Lalonde. Maybe he's a good option. I really don't know which way they go here, but like I say, if they're going to do it, start fresh.
If they're keeping the team together, I think Brunette is a person to go with. Chances are Wheeler will not be around, and I agree with that move. I think Brunette is the best coach to take them at that point if they make minimal changes. If they're going young, and if they do decide to get rid of Scheifele, if they do plan on moving on without Dubois and of course Wheeler, then I still really am cheering for Pascal Vincent, because last week you talked about you need to find a way to keep these players in Winnipeg. Well, you can't do that unless you have a coach or a leader who believes in the market and who's been in the market, to be honest with you, with this particular market. So I'm kind of cheering for Pascal Vincent still as my dark horse. He's familiar with the organization, and he's good with young players, and he knows this system. So I don't know, bro. Those are my two.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have this like if you're going with a young guy, chances are you probably do need to move out Wheeler. Because a young coach, with more inexperienced coach kind of thing.
Time to go.
Yeah, because that's going to be a bit of a clash there. Probably Wheeler wants it one way, the inexperienced, or the younger coach. I don't want to say inexperienced, but younger coach will want it a different way. Mm-hmm. If you had more experienced coach, you could probably leave Wheeler, Scheifele in there. Like Trotz could have came in, maybe fixed the situation or made it work kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an interesting thing. Chevy, you missed out on Trotz. Man, you got a 3-year contract. You better get this right, because Winnipeg Nation, Jets Nation is going crazy.
I know. They got to settle down those boots or whatever you want to say. It's like just, and you're right. This is his last chance of getting a coach. Does he have to win a Stanley? Does Chevy have to win a Stanley Cup with the next coach to keep his job, bro?
If they're rebuilding, it's going to take a few years, right?
Yeah.
But
the process.
Yeah, the process. I'd love for someone to go through all his interviews and see how many times he said process.
Yeah. Probably more than Joel Embiid in Philadelphia, but still.
Yeah, have a contest, and whoever gets the closest number wins a prize. Yeah, he's got to get it right. And in the next few years, if he hires a coach, they got to be winning at that point, and they got to be close to at least be in the playoffs at that point. Yeah. And then in a couple years after that, they got to be contending, but that window's got to stay open longer than this past window did. You can't be doing this every, 8 to 10 years, rebuild for 5 to 6 years, have a winning team for 2 years, and then start all over again. Right.
Yeah.
Winnipeg was ready to be a contender for a few years. It did not happen.
No, they had their window. Had their window.
It shot fast.
It got shut down pretty quickly. After, I said their window, they had a strong 3-4 years, and then the bubble was garbage, and then whatever. Edmonton sweep was fine, but then they lost to the eventual finalists. But any which way.
They had good seasons, but the playoffs, besides that one season, they were just lackluster, right?
Yeah.
Getting knocked out by St. Louis after that conference final year and whatever, right?
It doesn't help when your two of your best scorers are out of the playoffs either, when you lost Liney and Scheifele.
Yeah, that was the Calgary one, not the St. Louis one. That didn't help
at all. So. No, yeah, I'm talking about moving forward.
The bubble,
the playoff success.
Yeah.
So we'll see, Jets Nation. We'll see. What a journey we're on. Yikes.
Okay, how about you guys? You tell us who you want to see in Winnipeg now that Trotz is not around.
Yes.
Leave us a comment for somewhere on YouTube, Twitter, wherever. Let us know who you're thinking should be one. I know someone mentioned Kirk Muller one time. He might be an interesting one.
Yeah, I thought about Kirk Muller too earlier on.
Just don't know.
No, I'd say Strike
all
Muller
these guys
and
are unknowns,
Talkett
I
off
guess.
the list. I'm surprised you didn't say Talkett, Brad.
I mentioned him, but I know he's an ex-Flyer, but I still don't know if he's got the. He's taken over some bad teams.
Yeah, man. He had the Coyotes.
Pittsburgh, I think, and then Arizona.
Gosh.
So tough situations or whatever he's been. So
still. Let's move on to the CFL and the power rankings after week 3. We're going to go from bottom to the top from 9 to 1. Who do you got at 9, bro? I'm sorry.
They didn't move. It's the Edmonton Elks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting better. They're getting closer.
I guess like if losing by less means you're getting better, okay, that's true. That's true.
But they're still making way too many mistakes. The D can be playing a good first half, and then they let a big play. Nick Arbuckle could be playing a great game, and then his terrible interception late in that game against Calgary. And Calgary scores on the next play. So, no, not enough James Wilder going on.
No.
But hey, Manny Arsenault has been pretty good.
Like, we're not seeing that upward trend that we thought we'd see with Arbuckle.
No.
It's like when the last time the Bombers lost a meaningful game, we thought Arbuckle was like the next one.
Yeah.
Like he beat the Bombers 30 to 23.
Yeah.
And since then, what's going on, bro?
Nothing. He looks decent.
He had a good first drive.
Yeah. And then but he's still making those mistakes. Like that INT and that's the stuff that snuffs out drives or kills a game for them. Kenny Lawler wasn't really involved in this game.
What, 3 for 21?
Yeah, something like that.
That's different than 12 for 1 and whatever was 60 something. Like I don't get. I do kind of get it in Edmonton, but I don't know if it's just bad quarterback play or if they do not have a good offensive coaching with Steve McAdoo and Jarius Jackson.
Yeah, well, their whole line hasn't been the greatest. They have 3 good receivers though, with Lawler, Walker, and Manny Arsenault, who all of a sudden is turning back the clock.
Absolutely.
So they got that. They got a good running back in Wilder. So they got to get a little bit more consistency there.
Yeah, the play calling looks really vanilla. Yeah. Like I said that about the Bombers in week 1. Like Edmonton still looks like they're in preseason mode, bro.
Yeah.
No pressure on Bo Levi Mitchell. Like you let Bo Levi Mitchell, amazing for that guy to play. Like 3 hours before game time, Dickinson was about to go with Meyer, and then he's like, I taped it up, I'm ready to go. And he goes. And when you let that guy throw over 300 yards and 75%, you're in trouble.
Yeah, Bo Levi, if he gets time, he's going to eat you apart for
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely.
You don't stand a chance in a game like that against Mitchell.
Yeah. So that's why we got Edmonton at 9. Things aren't looking good. I do kind of think they can beat the Tiger Cats because of how the Tiger Cats looked last game, but it's in Hamilton and they can't get any pressure. That might help Evans. I don't know, bro. I don't know. They might not have a win until Labor Day.
Speaking of Hamilton, who do you got at 8?
Hamilton. Boy, did they look like trash, eh?
Oh.
This team is not good. I'm sorry, Tiger Cat fans. To my boy, Jay Ason on Twitter. Yo, your team stinks. They can't do anything right. They can't block. They can't run. Evans is a liability. Yikes, bro. And Simone Lawrence is mad at Jeff Reinbold.
Yeah. That's pretty fun. Yeah. Dane Evans, man, 2 more turnovers or 2 more interceptions. I know they're not totally his fault, but a couple bank balls with Willie Jefferson, and then that one where Big Hill almost broke Dunbar in half. But
yeah, that was great.
When the O-line is playing poorly as well, that adds on top. Dane Evans, he can scramble a little bit, but he's not the most mobile guy to get out of there.
No.
And now that was their 3rd different set of guys that they've had on the O-line so far this season, so that's not good in Hamilton. D's still doing okay for the most part. They're
all right.
Bombers only got 1 touchdown that game besides the on offense.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not doing enough, and their kicking game actually is terrible. But the funny thing about Simone Lawrence is he got in that pissing match with Reinbold.
Yeah.
And then you thought, okay, maybe he's gonna come out and disrupt this game or whatever, man.
No.
Non-existent.
Do you remember him at all? Like,
no.
You remember Santos Knox? He used to play for the Bombers. He was alive and fun to watch, and he was leading that defense, not Simone Lawrence.
Yeah.
No picks, no sacks, no tackles for losses. Like, come on, man.
No, it was all other guys that were getting it going. But
yeah,
does Steinauer lose his job if they lose next week to the Elks?
No. That's a mistake. Long season to go still, and the East really stinks. The East really stinks. Yeah. So unless you're really out of the picture with Steinauer, you don't fire the guy, I don't think.
Losing to the Elks, though, is pretty bad.
We'll see. We'll see. But like you said, they're kind of getting better. Their defense is kind of getting in position. That D-line is non-existent. For a D-line that's non-existent, Chris Jones has done a little bit of magic with that defense. Not a lot. Yeah. Not a lot.
Yeah, and we'll see, right? Not a lot of pressure by that Edmonton D. Now they're playing a weak goal line in Hamilton. Which one's going to win? That'll be interesting.
It actually will be a good game. Well, all these games have been good, to be honest with you. They've been good games. Let's look at number 7. I got your Eastern Conference champions, the Toronto Argos, at number 7 because they also aren't looking good. And I get it. There's a lot of injuries, but Andrew Harris, 7 for 27.
BLT didn't have a good night.
He never has a good night. Come on, man. Like, if the Owls didn't mess up that first game, they would be 0-2.
Yeah.
They would be 0-2, man. Like, you got to see Chad Kelly. You got to see Chad Kelly, bro.
Chad Kelly sighting. Threw an interception, though.
Also fumbled the ball.
And fumbled in what, four plays or whatever that was?
Yeah, he wasn't really in the good position. And 3 last names was all mad because he got pulled. It's like, come on, bro. The sun will come out tomorrow.
Didn't him and Dinwiddie have a shouting match on the sidelines?
Yeah. But are you telling me he shouldn't be pulled?
Not good for Dinwiddie so far, so we'll see if they can fix that up this week. Yeah. But I still had Ottawa at number 7 for me.
What?
Dude, they're still 0-2. They didn't play this week. They can't really move too much.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Toronto was 6.
You got Toronto at 6?
Yeah.
Okay. I got the Rough Riders at 6.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. I know not having them, like, they're playing on short rest and they have a new center and they only got to practice once before the game, but they did not look good. Like, when your quarterback gets sacked that many times, that's not good, bro. And Shaq Evans is lost for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Fractured ankle.
That's not good, bro.
Yeah, they crashed back down to earth. A lot of penalties too, man. 12 penalties for 106 yards.
That's not good.
And then Dickinson in that I think it was the first drive of the second half or something like that. I don't know. You were down a lot. You got in the field goal or scoring range at the 20-yard line, and you kick a field goal down
third
3
quarter.
scores.
That was in the third quarter, man.
Third quarter, yeah. Kick a field goal. Oh, you're down 3 scores. Kick a field goal. Oh, you're still down 3 scores. That's great.
Oh, what a coaching gaffe that was.
So, that was not good.
Yeah.
I still have Montreal at where were we at here?
6.
6, yeah. 6 for Montreal.
Yeah, and like you say, those penalties for Saskatchewan. That's
5 for Montreal, right?
Yeah, 5 for Montreal. Yeah, he's 6 in Saskatchewan. Yeah. Having those penalties, that's undisciplined. That's bad coaching. You know, like you mentioned, not going for the TD in the third quarter when you're down by 3 scores. Not good coaching. It's like the only good coaching moves was taking Fajardo out so he didn't die.
Yeah, and he wasn't happy about that either, but he was taking some good hits.
Yeah, bro, you're wearing a knee brace. You're obviously less mobile than usual. Get out of there. Like,
rematch this weekend with Montreal, so we'll see, right? Because a lot of people are saying, injuries, new center, short week, traveling to Montreal.
Yeah,
a lot of factors going into that. Okay, fine. Well, let's see. When you play Montreal again here at home, are you going to be able to flip that around? But good on Kahari to get that ship a little bit righted in Montreal.
Yeah,
they were 0-2, but they were so close in both those games.
Yeah,
Calgary came back in game 1. They came back in game 2, but missed the field goal. Trevor Harris has looked pretty good.
Not bad. So Adams out on COVID. He got over 200 yards.
So they played this game from start to end, and they finished this game like even that fourth quarter. They were still going at it. Late picks, on Fajardo and stuff. They didn't let their foot off the gas pedal like they did against Calgary. So it was a better result for them.
So I have Ottawa. I have Ottawa at number 4 because they had the week off. I had Calgary jumping, but I just think what they showed against Winnipeg was far better than Saskatchewan, Toronto, Hamilton, and Edmonton have shown all year. So that's why I have Ottawa at 4. And I think the week off, get that quarterback Mazzoli going with the playbook in PLP. I think they're in good shape. So I have the middle of the pack. Who do you have at 4?
They've played well, Ottawa. They just a lot of mistakes still to clean up, and we'll see this week if they've cleaned those up with the bye week and all that stuff.
Yeah.
At 4, I had Saskatchewan. So Montreal was 5th for me. Saskatchewan was number 4 for me.
Saskatchewan at 4, eh?
Still 2-1. Yeah, I know those weren't the cleanest games, those first 2 wins, but if we're talking about clean wins, then the Bombers are kind of in trouble with their 3 wins because besides the Hamilton game, the Ottawa ones weren't very clean. So I'll still give Saskatchewan number 4 right now, and we'll see in the rematch with Montreal where they end up. So
top 3, we have the same top 3. It just depends on what order. Who do you have in 3?
I have Calgary, 3-0 Calgary at number 3.
Yeah, quietly 3-0.
Yeah. And again, another team that hasn't played a full 60 minutes. They've been really good in the second half. Bo Levi kind of gets it going more in the second half, although he did look better in this third game all around.
He did.
So maybe he is back.
Those long balls, he was on point. I think he went 6 for 7 on the long balls.
Yeah, we criticized him last week for missing all those long balls, but he was on fire. Malik Henry, 173 yards.
That's
and a
crazy.
TD.
on 6 receptions.
Yeah.
So he's busting like 30-yard receptions almost every time.
And I think he had a big one called back early for a penalty or something like that. So he probably would have been over 200.
Yeah, and of course you got Kadeem Harry. He went for 90 on 19. Not the best average, but that's still a factor on the running game. That's the way you finish games out.
Yeah, exactly.
So they have a bye week. So that allows Bo Levi Mitchell a little bit of time to recover some more.
Yeah, and then they get the Elks after that. So.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to apologize to CFL matchmakers. I went in on them pretty hard last week. Most of it still stands, but there is the rematch after Labor Day. So friends and neighbors, that's a warning. Do not take Google at its word.
Just what? There is a rematch. So do they play Edmonton 4 times this year?
There is a rematch. Maybe CFL.ca is screwing me this time around, but you check that on your phone, bro. Yeah. There's a rematch the week after, and I was wrong about that. So, but the rest of the stuff about scheduling CFL, I'm still on you. But that I was wrong, and I apologize.
That'd be crazy if they played Edmonton 4 times this year, but I wouldn't put that past the CFL at all. So,
well, when you only play an Eastern team once, come on, you got to fill the schedule half somehow.
There is a back-to-back. So.
Who do you have at 2 back-to-backs? Who do you have at number 2?
Yeah, so there is a rematch after Labor Day. So
yeah, so they play back-to-back now, plus a bye, and then either which way. Who do you have at number 2 in the CFL Power rankings, bro?
Did you have Calgary at 3 as well?
Yeah, man.
Okay, I got BC at number 2.
I as well. Man, do they look good?
Nathan Rourke, man, wow.
Ooh, they beat the brakes off Toronto. Field goal, 44-3. They beaten 2 points, crazy, 108-18.
436 yards for Rourke. That's a new record. Canadian single passing record. Yeah, the guy was 86.7% on his passes. Like, that's crazy.
And that's after losing Brian Burnham.
Yeah.
Like, you lose that guy early, and he's gone for a few weeks with broken ribs, eh?
Yeah, punctured lung, too, in that game.
One of the most sure-handed receivers in the league. So you lose him, and you lose James Butler.
Yeah.
And props to Rourke for owning both of those injuries. He's I put those guys out there. Yeah, so good on him. But then you have Javon Cotoy, 7 for 71. Keon Hatcher, 7 for 68. Lucky Whitehead put up over 80 yards. Like, they didn't skip a beat, man.
No, not at all. And, and we criticized their O-line at the beginning of the year, kind of saying that might be their weaker point, but they've actually held up pretty good.
Yeah.
And have played well. And Rourke has, he's played well behind them. So 583 total yards, on offense. It's crazy, man, to think that they're putting that up with a rookie Canadian QB.
Yeah.
And like you say, Butler was out, and I think they had their backup guy had never really run before or run very much at all.
He's a Canadian fullback. A Canadian fullback. Yeah. And he went, did he always go for 90 yards? He went for 90 yards.
Pretty good, yeah.
Wow, BC. What can I say?
And D. Ryan Phillips has that D playing pretty good too. You only give up 3 points, man.
Yeah, is it June 9th when they play the Bombers?
Yeah, let's see here.
I think it's June 9th. That'll be the test right there. June 9th.
June 9th. I'm like, that already passed.
Pay attention here. It's almost over, folks.
July 9th.
There you go. July 9th, birthday game for Ray. Bombers in BC. That's going to be a huge one.
In BC, yeah, that'll be a big match.
Not to overlook the Bombers' next match, but this one here, that'll be huge. And that'll be on 5 days rest because the Bombers play July 4th.
which is another weird schedule thing. So
no, this is silly, man. What are they doing? Number one, why are CFL teams playing on Thursday? That makes no sense. 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday. What are they doing Thursday so teams don't have rest, bro? I don't get that.
Yeah, speaking of that, BC now plays on Thursday after playing the late game on Saturday. So short rest, traveling to Ottawa. So it'd be a good test to see what they could do here.
It makes no sense, bro. But props to BC for looking good, and they're at number 2. And of course I have, I'm sure you do too, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at number 1, looking a bit better as week goes on. The dark side defense, bro, I said earlier this year that they might be better than last year. They might be better than last year because they're getting better.
Yeah, that's the thing. Those first 2 games gave up a lot of yards, not a lot of points. This week, man, kept the yards down, kept the points down. Only 4 field goals for Hamilton, no TDs.
Yeah.
Only 269 yards given up. So, and then they scored a TD of Willie Jefferson. And they scored a TD of their own. So,
Willie Jefferson, bro. Has there been a more dominant defensive player since Cam Wake?
No, man, probably not the way Willie Jefferson has played. And even when the stats and the numbers, like he only had one sack. Like I think the Bombers only had the 1 sack, but the pressures between him and Jeffco on Evans were enough to disrupt the rhythm of any Hamilton offense getting
exactly. That D line is more, and props to the BC D line who's doing a rotational thing with their players like the Bombers do. But the Bombers are always fresh, man. And Cam Lawson with that stop in the middle on the run, that guy's looking good.
Yeah, you got to keep those guys fresh, and because you want them going after that QB all night, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, they look pretty good. The running game's still not great.
I
17 of 59.
I got love for Brady Oliveira, bro, because he's a local kid. But I think that's kind of factoring into why he's getting playtime. Because I don't know why Augustine isn't touching the ball more, bro. You're gonna have to explain
Augustine. And like you say, if Oliveira was lighting it up, fine, let him go. But he's not. You got to give Augustine more of a touch on that ball to see what he can do. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, a big loss from the game could be Nick Dembski. He was like 6 for 96 before he got hurt. We kept talking about him week after week, the first 2 weeks, that they really need to incorporate him. He got incorporated, and he had that brutal foot injury. I hope he's back for the 4th. He might be ready for the 4th.
Yeah, great game for him. He had that wicked catch on the goal line.
Yeah.
So it was tough to see him go down. It did not look good. Immediately after he got up, he was gone off the field. So, yeah. Not good. How about your boy, Legio?
Patience, Bomber Nation. Patience, Bomber Nation.
3 for 3 and 2 for 2 on the Comrades, man.
Looking good.
Not bad, not bad.
I'm not going to talk too much more because I don't want to jinx it, but he looked good. How about Demario Houston on the boundary corner for Winston Rose? He was solid, bro.
Yeah, that gives Rose some more time to heal up.
Exactly.
And if Houston plays another good game, maybe he takes over. I don't know. But maybe all around that defense got better. They didn't get, I think there was one big play that they gave up all game.
Yeah.
So that was better. But yeah, it's still probably thinking Rose is still the guy, but we'll see if Houston has another good game.
Props to him. He played really well. And if Dembski doesn't play, I'm really looking forward to Brandon O'Leary Orange.
Yes,
a good Canadian kid who played, I think, his ball down south at university. Like, he was getting on some NFL boards until he got injured. So if Dembski can't play, I'm looking forward to at least seeing him get some reps with the big offense.
He filled in pretty well later on. Got to give some props to Chris Kolankowski, the new center. Pretty good game as well. So he filled in nicely for Couture.
Very solid. Very solid. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that O-line progress. And the O-line and the running game. The running game is still absolutely necessary, especially for Caleros to get. Caleros looked better, but he didn't quite look as comfortable as he has been in his previous or last season.
Hamilton had a bit of pressure going on in that game and ended up with a couple sacks or a sack.
Yeah.
That Liam Dobson was in on one play as a tight end and got totally beat on that one. I don't even know if he touched the Hamilton guy.
He touched him, but it didn't matter. He pat the guy on the chest and he's like, "See ya, I'm gonna get it."
Yeah.
And
thanks for coming.
But that's tough for a guard to go out on the wide side and bless. You're getting experience, Dobson.
Exactly. 3-0 though. 3-0.
Gotta love it in Bomber Nation. You know, there are concerns of what they can be better, but when those are addressed, man, that team, especially if Kalaro starts getting on fire, get out of here. Goodness gracious. Shout out. Friends and neighbors, don't forget to check out David Benefield interview on our archives. We just talked to him a few days ago, and the memories he has about Winnipeg, the world famous Palomino Club, Dave Ritchie. It was an awesome interview to sit down with that guy. Open, honest, and good time. So don't forget to check out that. Shout out goes to Mahi Singh and the players of the Crocus Plains women's cricket team. They are the first all-female cricket team in Manitoba. And with Patel as their captain, they played at the Winnipeg Assiniboine Park Cricket Stadium in the Manitoba Cricket Association High School Jamboree. So shout out to them. Benny, do you have anything to say to the people?
You know what? Just again, thanks a lot for listening. Again, check us out on social media. Give us a comment or a like or anything like that. Subscribe on YouTube. Other than that, you know what? Have a good one.
And in the famous words of Pat Williams, we can't win at home. We can't win on the road. As general manager, I just can't figure out where else to play. Be kind, be safe, help each other out. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.